Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit dyingdollar.com to request your free gold and silver guide. That's dyingdollar.com.
Hey, Fidelity. Can I get a second opinion on stocks in the Fidelity app?
With Fidelity, it's easy to get an outside opinion from independent experts in a single score.
And then?
When you're ready, trade U.S. stocks and ETFs with no commissions.
That's right.
I am always right.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. $0 commission does not apply to customers designated by Fidelity as a professional equity trader. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a service fee of $100. See details at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
The Rita Cosby Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Lovely Rita, meet a maid. Nothing can come between us. When it gets dark, I tow your heart away.
Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, we're going to get to the Knicks in a moment. It is Game 3, and President Trump is in the house. So we'll talk about that. Also, Zohran Mamdani, the New York City mayor's in the house as well. So let's hope they win a Game 3. Then they go on to Game 4, and it's a clean sweep. So let's see what's going on that. We're going to give you an update on that in a moment. Meantime, some big updates taking place in the mayor's race and also governor's race in California. Lots of news tonight. In just the last few minutes, the AP has projected that Nithya Raman, who is a far, far left progressive, has won the LA mayor's primary to get that second slot. So what that means is that Nithya Raman, according to the new numbers that came in, and there were so many ballots that came in the last few days, we'll get into the questions surrounding the way it works in LA in a moment. But she is now projected to go up against Karen Bass in the mayor's race. And what that means is reality star and someone who has brought a lot of reality to that race, Spencer Pratt, is no longer in the running. That is a very big deal because Spencer Pratt looked like he was sitting pretty in the number 2 position. And then all of these ballots came in and suddenly things change. And now the Associated Press is projecting that the race for mayor will be Karen Bass versus another Democrat, someone even to the left of Karen Bass, and that is Nithya Raman. So LA, I love you, but you're in trouble now if you don't have Spencer Pratt in the race to make it real, to talk about what really matters, to talk about crime, to talk about homelessness. Well, you're in big time trouble. Now it's a choice between Karen Bass, remember, who presided over all of those fires. She left. She went to Ghana. She came back and said, whoopsie, sorry if I was out of pocket. And then you've got Nithya Raman, who is an ultra progressive, and all of those things add up to a dangerous combination. And sadly, a bad choice is what it means for Los Angeles. And then to the governor's race. This just coming in that Decision Desk HQ, not everybody's called it yet, but Decision Desk HQ is predicting that Javier Becerra, who we know is already in there because he had a sizable lead there in the governor's race, and that's held even with a lot of the ballots still coming in the last few days. And Trump-backed Steve Hilton will go to the next round. If indeed that holds true, it looks like it's going to. That is going to be very big for the state of California. So again, Decision Desk HQ in the last few minutes saying that Steve Hilton, conservative, Trump-backed, a new American. He shares the story about what it means to be an American and that he is now going to make it to the final round. So at least there's a little bit of common sense in the final round in the California governor's race. And what a contrast he is to Javier Becerra. So what do you make of the fact that suddenly all these votes came in from California that changed the game big time in the LA mayor's race. Earlier today, and I'm going to play some clips later on, we talked to Bill Asaley. Bill Asaley is the U.S. attorney in California, and he talked about how first-time voters can get signed up if you have like a gym membership. If you can't show proper ID and you don't have a social security number, you can show an insurance card. You can show a gym membership. Can you imagine going, here's my Gold's gym membership. Trust me, I'm a legitimate voter. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. I mean, that is a frightening situation. And that's what's ahead there, as we are seeing in California. And apparently a whole bunch of new first-time voters came in. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Well, meantime, let's go to MSG. And just a little bit ago, President Trump came in and he was cheering on his favorite team, my favorite team, the Knicks. And there it is, Star Spangled Banner. Please, everybody, stand up. And you could see President Trump, he had his hand on his heart, and he was surrounded by a lot of folks in his cabinet. He had a lot of people with him. He had Doug Burgum, of course, the Interior Secretary. Steve Witkoff was there. The owner of the Knicks, James Dolan. Also, Dan Scavino, his Deputy Chief of Staff. Sean Duffy, Transportation Secretary. Lee Zeldin, of course, who ran for governor of New York, now the EPA administrator. And then you also saw President Trump's favorite sports enthusiast, his granddaughter, the great golfer, Kai Trump. And beautiful scenes where you see the president with his hand on his heart as they are singing the national anthem. And then you also see Kai right there standing next to him. They're cheering on the game. Hopefully it's a winning game, guys, and as it is underway. But here is NBA Commissioner Adam Silver talking about President Trump being there at MSG.
And I'll also say about President Trump, I've been with the league for a long time. I ran NBA Entertainment years ago. He did an I Love Kids game spot with us. He was a fixture at NBA at Madison Square Garden. You guys remember, all of you, when you played here, not Draymond, but back in the old days, he had courtside seats. He was here all the time. He was at drafts. So he's a genuine Knicks fan.
And he is also somebody who needs a lot of security. Needless to say, you're going into MSG, you're going into New York City, you're going into this whole scenario. And because of all of that, and just this climate right now, well, President Trump is indeed there at MSG. He's in one of the boxes. He's not necessarily sitting there right there on the front row. Although he could afford the tickets, he may be one of the only people who can afford the tickets. If you look at the ticket prices, the prices are anywhere from $7,000 to about $100,000. I mean, that is, quite frankly, who can afford a $100,000 ticket if you're just some like Joe Blow average citizen? And for that reason, that is really, I think that's kind of crazy. I'm glad that they gave some tickets away to regular folks. I'm glad that they said, okay, we need to take care of these regular individuals. We need to have regular ticket holders get access to it. But, maybe it's Ben Stiller who can afford the $100,000. Maybe it's some of these other folks who can afford the $100,000. But to be able to say it's going to be 100 G's to be sitting there in the front, that is absolutely unfair, I think, to the average fan. But I'm glad to see it's a packed house for the Knicks tonight. And here is NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch, because she is out there and she said, listen, here are some of the restrictions. You got to check your bags. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's making New York even crazier security-wise. But boy, is it for good reason. Here it is.
Tonight is Game 3 of the NBA Finals, and it is an extraordinary moment for the Knicks and for fans across the 5 boroughs, a chance to celebrate this team and this run with the energy that only New York can bring. But tonight will also bring a major presidential visit to Madison Square Garden. As you know by now, because of that visit, and in coordination with the United States Secret Service, There will unfortunately be no watch party outside of Madison Square Garden for Game 3 of the finals, and no access to the immediate vicinity of MSG without an authorized reason to be there. No one will be allowed inside the secured area unless they have a ticket to the game, a train ticket, they are going to a business inside the area, they have credentials, or they have some other authorized reason to be there. Everyone entering the secure area will be screened by the New York City Police Department. If you have reason to be in the secure area, you can enter at one of 5 designated entry points where that screening will occur.
And, of course, the Democrats can't even praise President Trump for going to MSG. It's a pretty easy thing. How great. He loves the Knicks. A lot of people love the Knicks. It's pretty easy to say, isn't it wonderful to have the sitting president of the United States in New York and at the biggest game in the world at this moment? Of course, you've got also FIFA coming up. I mean, there's a lot of things to celebrate. He clearly loves sports. He brings his granddaughter who also loves sports and other folks in the cabinet who love sports. And he can't even praise them for that reason. I mean, this is just crazy that you've got these Democrats who they won't even say, oh, it's nice to have the president in the Big Apple. It's nice that he cares about the Knicks. Anything that President Trump has to do, this just shows the looniness of the left. Listen to what AOC had to say about President Trump as he was announcing he was coming to the game.
It already has been a vibe killer because now the city has to shut down all the MSG watch parties that happen outside of the arena that have been the source of like so much fun for everybody, both if you're there and if you're watching it after the clips are posted. Now all of that's going to get shut down tomorrow because Trump wants to show up. And I can tell you, like, as a politician, you know, I've gone to my fair amount of sports games. There are just some things that, like, I mean, you don't want to go either to jinx it or just in general. Sometimes the accommodations that are required for the security for you to show up are just not worth shutting down the fun for so many other people. And sometimes you decide not to go to things so that other people can enjoy it.
And let's go to your calls, guys. Can you believe it? They're saying Trump is a vibe killer, that he shouldn't be in New York cheering on his favorite team. He is a New Yorker. He has been a diehard Knicks fan well before AOC even was a bartender. Give me a break. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Al in Yonkers on line 1. Go ahead, Al. Your thoughts tonight.
Yeah, hi, Rita. Yeah, Rita, you know, with the Knicks, it would be really great if they were able to it's been so long since the championship back in 1973. You had the late Dave DeBusschere, Clyde Frazier, Willis Reed. You know, I can go on, Senator Bradley. So it would really be great for the city if they were able to take this championship. It looks good. They're up 2-0. And, you know, it would be great for the whole city. And let's hope for the best.
Yeah, I hope so, too. And, you know, I think you hit a great point, Al, that this moment right now, there's so many things that are just, you know, overwhelming when you think about everything that's happening with Iran, all these crazy protests outside the Newark ICE facility and the division, the Democrats, you know, and we'll get to this in a little bit because you've got Graham Plattner tomorrow in the primary and the Democrats are like, yeah, maybe he made a few little mistakes. I mean, you got these horrible things going on. It's nice to have something that's unifying, that's sort of apolitical, but yet, you know what's shocking is that's why I was playing those clips. Democrats, the fact that President Trump likes the Knicks, they don't like him. I mean, anything he likes, he could say, I'm going to, like, you know, pave the sidewalks gold. That's right. And they would say, oh, that's not nice. It should be brass. I mean, it really is preposterous, but it just kind of spotlights the lunacy, don't you think, Al?
Yes, Rita, I agree with you. You know, everybody knows the president, you know, is a big sports enthusiast. He was always into, you know, as you know, he loved to play golf. he loved the Knicks, and he all those years being in New York, he wants to see them win too. So I know when he was a civilian, he would go to the games. So it's great. Him and Dolan, I'm sure Dolan's father had a good relationship with President Trump, and I'm sure his father, Fred. So it's really great that he was able to go see the Knicks tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's wonderful. And I think it also, it's so classic Trump. It's his spirit. It's who he is. I mean, he loves getting out there, Al, and he loves getting out
really
there
does.
with the crowd, I mean, to me, it doesn't get any better than that. Al, thank you very
so much.
It's always great to talk with you. Let's go to Silas real quick in New Jersey, line 2. Go ahead, Silas. Hello? Silas, we miss you there. Silas, go ahead.
Rita, this is Sal, not Silas.
Oh, okay, Sal. Okay, Sal. Sorry.
Hello,
sorry, we got a new guy screening. He gave the wrong name. Sal, sorry.
This is a familiar voice. You know me already.
Sal, as soon as I hear your voice, I know it is awesome, Sal. Go ahead, Sal. Sorry about that.
I just want to say Trump has every right to be at that game. He's our president. He could go everywhere he wants, do whatever he wants. That's our president, and he loves his team. He loves his country, and he loves to do what he can do whatever he wants. And if President Trump found a cure for cancer, they would go against him for that reason. They just hate the man, and they hate the man, but not because they hate him. Well, they do hate him, but they hate him because what he's doing for our country, because he's a great man for our country. He's doing great things.
And you know what I think they hate, Sal? He is courageous. I mean, he doesn't care about the criticism. He almost feeds off of it, and he's just like, he is who he is. And he's not he's not like a typical politician. He says what he thinks. He is so the people who love him, and they can't stand that he packs in the House, packs in the rallies, packs in the this. They can't take it. And he says, too bad. I'm doing what I think is right for America. I don't care. And they can't handle that. And what's that line? You can't handle the truth. Sal, you're right. He could cure cancer, and they'd be upset that he was hurting maybe the pharmaceutical companies. Go ahead, Sal. Yeah, real quick.
And Rita, I'm in spades of what Donald Trump did to that woman from 60 Minutes. He did the right thing. She had some nerve, and he put her in her place.
Oh, I think you mean the one in you're talking about the Meet the Press. I think it was NBC. Yeah.
Right,
oh boy.
Right.
Yeah, and he said, listen, he said, I've been in the rain here for 1 hour on and off doing this interview. You won't even listen to me. Gotta go. Boy, did that speak volumes. Sal, thank you. You're terrific. 1-800-848-9222. We'll continue after the break.
One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
The Rita Cosby Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We are the New York Knicks. 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 Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Say go New York, go New York,
It's got a good beat, you guys. It's got a good beat, and we'll find out if they're going to win Game 3 soon. We'll keep you posted when we come back. That and a lot more on The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, where a 68-year-old woman is alive after bystanders alerted deputies who pulled her from the ocean and performed CPR. Body cam footage shows deputies rushing into the water to save a woman who was found floating face down in the ocean. Upon seeing the deputies, the beachgoers yelled and then flagged them down. A deputy quickly responded. He made his way out to the woman in the water and then pulled her back onto dry land. She was completely unresponsive and without a pulse, but deputies immediately began CPR and thankfully were able to revive her. She was taken to a hospital and is listed in stable condition and lucky to be alive, thanks to our great men and women in blue. Well, we are talking so much Trump and the Knicks. The fact that Democrats can't even applaud that President Trump is cheering on his favorite team. God forbid he gets to enjoy a sports game. And in the meantime, talk about I think a terrible political game. Tomorrow night is going to be the primary for Maine. And there's a couple other primaries. A lot of eyes, of course, on Maine. And you've got this crazy candidate, Graham Plattner. He is right now the Democrat candidate. He's got some competition, but very minimal tomorrow in the primary. I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow night. I thought things were really bad with this Adam Hamaway. That's the guy who was tied to the blind sheikh in New Jersey. He won his primary. That's a blue seat. The difference is Maine is pretty conservative. You know, maybe a little purple, but it's conservative. They're definitely different pockets. But the fact that this Graham Plattner seems to have a big following, despite these allegations coming from women even recently, saying that he was like grabbing their hands behind their back, twisting this one woman's hand behind her back, blocking her in a bedroom, grabbing her, leaving marks on her. I mean, it's pretty scary stuff. And then you couple that with the guy saying all these horrible things that he does about African Americans, about gays. He's got his Nazi tattoo. The list goes on and on and on. I can't believe the bar is so low that this guy is the best that the Democratic Party in beautiful Maine can do. But part of it is also, I was watching over the weekend because I was waiting to see, okay, what is Ro Khanna going to do? What is Bernie Sanders going to do? These different politicians, both very progressive, are they going to stand by this guy? Both of them were bashing. Remember Christine Blasey Ford? That was the woman who was accusing Brett Kavanaugh, but had no whatsoever proof. It was just an allegation from like decades earlier. Meanwhile, you've got these allegations that were pretty fresh. I mean, some of the things he said about veterans, he said about a year or two ago. And yet, if you listen to the Democratic Party, they are so desperate to try to get the Senate back, and they don't want to admit they made a horrible mistake with this guy and clearly didn't do any research on his background. Now they're stuck with this guy. My belief is they saw a guy, a lumberjack guy. They thought, okay, good, he looks like a real man's man after some of the others that they've picked before that don't really look like men. This one looks like a man's man, kind of like a tough guy, an outdoorsy guy. A farmer. Turns out the only business, according to reports, are his mother that he sells his oyster business to. Doesn't really have any big business. Apparently has a pretty questionable past with a lot of these comments that he's made. Puts a Nazi tattoo on that he's had on his body for 17 years. And now they're stuck with him. Now they're like, oh, we can't admit we made a mistake. And I guess even if we have to have somebody with a Nazi tattoo, we'll take a Nazi tattoo as long as he's a body that can vote. That is a very sad state of affairs. But we'll find out together tomorrow night what the people of Maine do. But here is Ro Khanna, because over the weekend, he keeps kind of repeating this line. Now, I told you the new allegations, especially from this woman named Lindsay Fifield. She dated him for 3 years. It's a fact. They did date for 3 years. Now she's saying that he kind of manhandled her and twisted her arm behind her back, did some pretty serious stuff. That's just what she saw. And she said she's talked to other women that have some pretty similar, fairly similar other allegations. But yet, for Ro Khanna, I guess this isn't a high enough bar. Listen to what he said on CBS with a straight face this weekend. This is the Democratic California congressman who was actually out there. What a disgrace this guy is. I actually thought he was a fairly stand-up Democrat for a while. But I have no respect for him now that he went out on Friday night and he was protesting on behalf of Graham Plattner, saying what a great guy he is right after these allegations came forward. And here's what he says is his red line. Listen to this.
As my sense is before the primary, a lot of this has come out. Obviously, look, if there was evidence of violence, I would not support him. If there was evidence of sexual assault, I'd have zero support for him.
So what? I guess Christine Blasey Ford, who had no proof, it was every woman should be believed. That was the line that Ro Khanna was telling everybody back then. But now he doesn't believe somebody who dated this guy for 3 years, that they must be mistaken when he was so sure about the evidence against Brett Kavanaugh. What a bunch of hypocrites. And in fact, here is one of his tweets. I want to just read a comment that he made. This is what he said all the way back during all the stuff that was going on years ago, again, when there was the nomination for Brett Kavanaugh for Supreme Court Justice. He says, this is Ro Khanna, I believe Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. I believe Deborah Ramirez. I believe Anita Hill, going back, of course, to Clarence Thomas. And then he says, Brett Kavanaugh should not be on the Supreme Court. So there are accusations, especially Christine Blasey Ford, the most recent one. I guess her just throwing these accusations from decades ago was perfectly fine because it was against a conservative. He was more than proud to say that he was part of the Me Too movement, Ro Khanna, and also Kristen Gillibrand of New York. She's now dodging like she has like the biggest case of laryngitis. Oh, I can't talk. I haven't seen it. Is there anybody out there that actually thinks that the Democratic Party hasn't seen these allegations? They're everywhere, especially if you're a Democrat, if you're involved in politics. You see them. They just don't want to admit it because they're so desperate for the vote. And another one who's really desperate for the vote and seems to have no spine is Bernie Sanders. Listen to what he said. He said, I couldn't believe this over the weekend. He said, I'm 100% cheering Graham Plattner on. Thank you, Bernie Sanders.
I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that Graham Plattner is the next senator from the state of Maine.
I don't know what's worse, him saying I'm going to do whatever I can and people in the crowd clapping. Who are these people clapping? Yeah, great. I'd love to have a guy with a Nazi tattoo. And then here's a little bit more from Senator Bernie Sanders, making it sound like everybody, I guess, wears a Nazi tattoo.
I think, as most people know, he served 4 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan as a Marine and then in the Army. And what I do know is he saw some very horrible things and participated in some very horrible things that one wishes human beings do not have to go through. And what he has admitted is that he came back home with serious problems. He talks about the VA care that he got in the VA for PTSD, which went a long way to giving him the strength that he has right now. He is now married to a very, I've met her several times, very nice young woman, Amy, and has gotten his life together. So to my mind, I don't know what is true or not true. He denies it. She says something else. But what I do know is that there are people in the United States Senate right now who are not saints. I can tell you that.
So I guess, are they walking around with Nazi tattoos? Let me just read a couple of the things that are in Graham Plattner's background. He's got the tattoo. He praised the Hamas raid that killed Israelis. So that's not some like ancient history. He's embraced political violence. He has that sexting scandal, which he's sure, by the way, that the people he was sexting, the young women, were above age. I'm sure he was able to confirm IDs. You've got, obviously, the physical allegations from former girlfriends. You've got cops are bastard slogans. That was his phrase. Horrible racist comments. Also, by the way, calling rural Americans racist and stupid. He's identified as a communist and socialist. He mocked Teddy Daniels, who is the Purple Heart veteran, saying that he should have died because he was such a bad shot, which is just disgusting. He also mocked Chris Kyle, great American sniper, one of the greatest shooters ever, mocking him, saying, oh, he must have shot a lot of innocents with having that number. He downplayed rape. Let's not forget that. He also essentially said women that are raped, well, you guys need to buck up and act like an adult. This guy should not even be considered for a candidate, and yet he's leading, and there's a very good chance, we're all going to find out tomorrow night, that he's going to win the primary. The question is, will he stay in? Will they try to push him out? Will they force him to try to, quote, voluntarily drop out? I don't know. I'm sure they would love it. The question is, will they get it? Because this guy is definitely damaged goods. And here's a little bit from Maine voters. Take a listen, because Maine voters, some of them are still backing him, but then there's others with common sense like these.
He's a disgrace to every veteran that has PTSD, like I do, because he's using it as an excuse to cover up his own personal failings.
And here is another Maine voter.
Nothing good about him. I mean, I can't really get into the bad part, but it's like anybody with a Nazi tattoo, and it's not a Bugs Bunny tattoo.
Yeah, I love that. It's not a Bugs Bunny tattoo. Wake up, Ro Khanna. Wake up, Bernie Sanders. Boy, are we heading on a dangerous path. Can you imagine if you got this crazy guy, Adam Holloway, with the blind shake from New Jersey, and then you have somebody like Graham Plattner. Hopefully Susan Collins, when it gets to the general, will be able to beat him. She usually always pulls it out and has done a great job as a senator there. And then you got this Abdul Al-Sayed, who's running on the Democratic side in Michigan. I mean, this is a mess. And then you got Mondani, which, by the way, today started talking more about how we need to abolish ICE. Here's us, everything going on in the world. His adversary is ICE, federal law enforcement. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Robert in Brooklyn, line 1. Go ahead, Robert.
Hi, Rita. Thanks for taking my call. Well, election night in Los Angeles, we thought that it was going to be a runoff between Mayor Karen Bass, who used to be at least a Democrat, and the Republican Spencer Pratt. But then with the mail-in ballots, apparently we're expected to believe this Nithya Raman, who's a Democrat, apparently we were supposed to expect to believe she got recently 40% of the mail-in ballots. And so now it's going to be Bass, who used to be a Democrat, and versus Nithya Raman, who's also a Democrat. And we're supposed to believe that they kept counting mail-in ballots until Nithya Raman got enough mail-in ballots, 40%, so that now it changed it, and we're supposed to trust the election results. Now, I mean,
so obviously you don't trust the results, Robert. By the way, I agree. It's awfully fishy. It's awfully fishy because she was quite a bit, behind. And suddenly all these mail-in ballots. And by the way, and I'm sure you know this, Robert, they just kind of send them out in California. They send them out, millions of them. Many of them apparently are out of date, according to Judicial Watch. And earlier today, we had Bill O'Saley. He's the U.S. attorney there in L.A., and he said that it's incredible that first-time voters have all these very low standards that if you don't have a voter ID, don't worry about it. You just show a gym membership, you show a health insurance, you show a whole bunch of those things. And on health insurance, illegal immigrants get health insurance, Robert. So, I mean, there's no vetting. And we're supposed to have faith in this process. They also allow ballot harvesting, where you could go over to somebody in a nursing home, and then you yourself may just be some Joe Blow, and you go, okay, here you go. Here's 200 votes from this nursing home or from this homeless district with a bunch of drug addicts. But trust me, it's their signature, and trust me, I verified them all. It's shocking to me, the lack of voter integrity, Robert.
Well, right. And the thing is, the Republicans, they're not codifying President Trump's executive order. They're not codifying the Save America Act. The Senate, the Republicans, the rhinos, McConnell, Tillis, Murkowski, and Collins, they voted against it, and they're not getting the Save America Act done. And, President Trump said that if they don't get the Save America Act passed, he's not going to have any other legislation signed. But the thing is, so it's very disappointing to Republicans. Yeah, basically like a uniparty. The Republican face of the uniparty did not get even the Save America Act they wouldn't codify. Now, in terms of Iran and Israel, I'm really, really disappointed with President Trump. He seems to be really, really bullying Bibi Netanyahu. Israel is being attacked by Hezbollah in Lebanon. And recently, yesterday, they got attacked by Iran, ballistic missiles to Israel. And now when Bibi Netanyahu, the leader of Israel, is going to try to counterattack, to attack Iran or to attack the Hezbollah in Lebanon, you have President Trump really applying major pressure on Bibi Netanyahu not to attack. And he's all this time with his so-called ceasefire peace agreement he's trying to get done. I'm very disappointed in President Trump.
But now, wait, hang on, Robert, hold on. So what do you think he should do? And by the way, it's not an ideal situation. I agree with you. The scolding of Netanyahu. On the other hand, he feels that he is close to a big picture deal. And if indeed that's the case, that would be great. And I do believe he believes that. The question is, obviously there's no trust in the Iranian side whatsoever. I mean, how could you trust these monsters, But he's trying. So that's part of the big picture. He doesn't want what's going on to mess up the big picture. On the other hand, you can't blame the Israelis for wanting to defend themselves. So what do you think he should do?
Well, President Trump, I'm very disappointed. The Muslim Brotherhood from Qatar and from Turkey. He will not ban the Muslim Brotherhood from Turkey and Qatar, and he will not ban CARE. I'm very disappointed in President Trump. He didn't do an executive order. He just left it open. He only did some chapters. Maybe in Egypt he banned, but he did not ban all the Muslim Brotherhood. He did not ban from Qatar and Turkey. He took that like $400 million plane from Qatar. I'm very, very disappointed in President Trump. I give him kudos for getting those hostages back, including the dead bodies back.
Wait. What about also going after Iran? I mean, every other American president said, they're a threat, but they didn't have the guts. He's gone in, first he did the first major strike, of course, on those 3 facilities last June, and then he's done a lot of damage this go round. No president has come even close to it. I hope, like you, that he finishes the job, that he and Israel finish the job. Look, obviously, I hope it's peace. I hope they can come up with some miracle peace solution, but if they can't, finish the job, and I agree with you on that. But I give him a lot of credit that he has gone so much further than any American president has. And for that, you got to give him credit for that part. Robert, thank you. You're right. Let's see where it goes. There are a lot of questions. 1-800-848-9222.
The Rita Cosby Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And let's continue with your calls. Let's go to Alice in Ohio on line 1. Alice.
Hi, Rita. Something about this man in Maine.
Yeah, Graham Plattner.
Yes. What is alarming about him is that if he's successful, or just the very fact that he's getting so much publicity, that can encourage other nutcases around the country to run.
That's a great point. That's a great point. If they see like somebody like that can run, they'll like, God, anybody can run.
Right. And you know what? Your colleague who's on just before you is such a great wit. He had such a good comment about him. He said, this man has more baggage than an airport.
Yeah, it's true. It's a great line because I've never seen a candidate so sullied. I guess I should say he does have competition. This Adam Hamaway, who won in New Jersey, who literally volunteered as a character witness for the blind sheikh when he was convicted of terrorism. I'd say that's pretty low. But this guy has I bet you this is just the tip of the iceberg. And you're right, Alice. The loonies will come out and say, if Graham can do it, anyone can.
The Rita Cosby Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves a match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.